Breaking news, SpaceX will catch Starship from orbit in 2025. Not just land it, catch it, with giant mechanical arms. This is the game changer we've been waiting for. Elon Musk just confirmed this bold plan that will transform space travel forever. From 1500 degrees Celsius re-entry to precision capture, no other company on Earth can do this. What makes this so revolutionary? How will it change our path to Mars? Let's dive right in. Right now, SpaceX stands at the edge of aerospace history. Flight 9 of Starship isn't just another test. It's the critical stepping stone towards something that's never been done before, catching a 160-foot spacecraft with mechanical arms as it returns from orbit. This isn't science fiction. This is happening in 2025. What exactly is SpaceX attempting? In the simplest terms, launching a massive rocket to space, separating the upper stage, ship, sending it to orbit, then bringing it back to be caught midair by a tower with mechanical arms. No parachutes, no landing legs. Just perfect precision at the exact right moment. Think about catching a baseball, except this baseball weighs 100 tons, has just survived 1500 degrees Celsius temperatures, and costs $200 million. Miss the catch? That's a very expensive splash. For context, NASA's space shuttle took months of refurbishment between flights and cost about $1.5 billion per launch. SpaceX's vision? Turn Starship around in days, maybe even hours, at a fraction of the cost. But why is this so difficult? Unlike the super heavy booster that SpaceX has already caught successfully, Starship faces a much more brutal journey. It reaches orbital velocity at 17,500 miles per hour. It endures the white-hot inferno of atmospheric re-entry. Its heat shield must work flawlessly. Its flaps must control descent with ballet-like precision. And after all that punishment, it needs to position itself exactly right for the mechanical arms to grab it. The margin for error? Practically zero. Here's where things get interesting. Until recently, SpaceX fans and analysts, myself included, thought this catch attempt might happen as early as Flight 10. But Elon Musk just dropped a bombshell on social media. Later this year, if fate smiles upon SpaceX, the ship will be caught by the tower just like the booster. Wait. If fate smiles upon SpaceX? That's unusually cautious language from a man known for bold predictions. What does Musk know that we don't? The timeline itself is revealing. Later this year suggests we're looking at a catch attempt no earlier than mid-2025, giving SpaceX more breathing room to perfect their systems. This more measured approach speaks volumes about the sheer complexity of what they're attempting. But which flight will actually make the catch attempt? This is where we need to follow the hardware trail. Flight 13 is expected to debut the V3 Starship, a significant redesign with major upgrades. Would SpaceX risk a brand new vehicle design on such a high-stakes maneuver? Probably not. Flight 12, however, will likely use the S-38/B-15 vehicles based on the proven V2 and V1 designs. These have been tested and refined through multiple flights, making them stronger candidates for the tower catch. There's also Flight 14 to consider. If it's the second mission to use V3 hardware, SpaceX will have gathered crucial data from Flight 13, potentially making it a safer bet for the first catch attempt. But here's the twist many are missing. SpaceX is simultaneously upgrading their ground infrastructure. Pad B's orbital launch mount has now been relocated, lifted, and welded into place. This final structural piece completes the catching system's foundation, and SpaceX now has months to test and fine-tune the entire mechanism before the historic attempt. What's even more telling? Pad A may soon go offline for upgrades, likely to accommodate the next generation of vehicles. SpaceX isn't just planning for one catch. They're building an entire system for routine orbital operations. Let's break down exactly what the ship needs to accomplish before it can even attempt the tower catch. This is the gauntlet Starship must run. First, perfect launch. All 6 Raptor engines must perform flawlessly to reach the correct trajectory. Second, orbital insertion. Starship must achieve stable orbit, a milestone that's proven challenging in previous flights. Third, payload deployment. While this might be minimal for the first catch attempt, the system must demonstrate it can deliver satellites or other cargo. Fourth, Engine reignition. After coasting in the vacuum of space, the Raptors must restart on command. No small feat with cryogenic propellants. Fifth, the fiery return. Starship must survive re-entry temperatures hot enough to melt steel, maintaining structural integrity under extreme heat and pressure. Sixth, controlled descent. 4 aerodynamic flaps must precisely control the vehicle's orientation and speed while decelerating from hypersonic to subsonic velocities. And finally, final approach. Starship must align itself perfectly with Mechazilla's arms in the final seconds before capture. Each of these steps must work perfectly in sequence. A failure at any point means no catch attempt, or worse, a catastrophic loss of vehicle. What makes this especially difficult? Every one of these systems interacts with the others. A slightly higher temperature during re-entry affects aerodynamic performance, which changes the descent profile, which alters the final approach position. The cumulative complexity is staggering. Why go through all this trouble? Because catching Starship changes everything. When the space shuttle landed on a runway, it took 2 to 3 months and thousands of workers to prepare it for its next flight. Even SpaceX's current Falcon 9 rockets, which land on drone ships or ground pads, require significant inspection and refurbishment before flying again. The tower catch eliminates almost all of that. No splashdown in corrosive seawater, no landing legs to absorb impact forces, no transport from a landing site back to the launch facility, just a gentle capture by Mechazilla's arms, followed by placement directly onto the launch mount for the next mission. This is the key that unlocks Musk's vision of airline-like operations in space, and that operational tempo is absolutely essential for what comes next. The Starship catch isn't just a technical milestone, it's the foundation for humanity's next giant leap. Here's what it enables. Orbital refueling. Originally planned for late 2025, but likely shifting to early 2026. This involves launching multiple Starships to orbit, docking them together, and transferring propellant. This capability is the cornerstone of any mission beyond Earth orbit. Without efficient reusability through the tower catch, the economics simply don't work. Lunar landings. An uncrewed Starship lunar lander is scheduled for 2026, with crewed Artemis missions in 2027 and 2028. These will mark humanity's return to the moon after more than 50 years, and the tower catch is what makes these missions economically sustainable. Mars missions. SpaceX is targeting an uncrewed Mars mission within 2 years of the first successful Starship operations, followed by a potential crewed flight 2 years after that. The long-term goal? A self-sustaining city on Mars with regular flights between the planets. None of this happens without mastering the tower catch first. What's remarkable is that SpaceX has already demonstrated the booster catch with incredible precision. Both B-14, Flight 7, and B-15, Flight 8, were caught smoothly by the tower arms. This validates half of the system, but the ship catch remains the final, most challenging piece of the puzzle. Behind the scenes, SpaceX is making moves that signal their confidence. The massive expansion of their manufacturing facilities, including upgrades to Star Factory and the future Gigabay complex, indicates they're preparing for rapid production once the full reusability loop is closed. These expanded facilities aren't just about building more rockets. They're about refining the design based on flight data. Each mission provides invaluable information about how various components perform under real-world conditions, and SpaceX engineers are incorporating those lessons into each new vehicle. The upcoming Starbase company talk will likely reveal more details. While Musk has said the focus will be on Mars ambitions, he'll undoubtedly discuss the critical steps required to reach that goal, including the ship catch strategy. All of this preparation converges on a single moment, when a Starship returns from orbit and is caught in midair by Mechazilla's robotic arms. That moment will permanently change the economics of access to space. It will make regular flights to the moon routine. It will open the door to Mars, and it begins with a catch. What do you think? Will SpaceX succeed on their first attempt? Which flight will make the historic catch? And how quickly will we see missions to the moon and Mars once they perfect this technology? The future of space exploration depends on these answers. So what are we witnessing here? This isn't just rocket science, it's history in the making. SpaceX isn't merely building a better spacecraft. They're rewriting the rules of space travel itself. The ability to catch Starship with Mechazilla in 2025 will mark the moment when space truly became accessible, not just for billionaires or government agencies, but as the foundation for humanity's multiplanetary future. Think about it. Every technological revolution throughout history faced its impossible challenge. For flight, it was breaking the sound barrier. For computing, it was miniaturization. For space exploration, it's full, rapid reusability. And we're about to see it happen. This is why we obsess over every SpaceX test, every weld on the tower, every tweet from Musk. We're watching the pivotal moments that our grandchildren will read about in history books. If you're as fascinated by this journey as we are at Space Corps, hit subscribe now. We're tracking every development in this story, from Flight 9 through the first tower catch and beyond. What will you tell people when they ask where you were when humans became a multi-planetary species? Because that journey doesn't start with footprints on Mars. It starts with a catch. Confirmed. SpaceX is about to make history. Booster 14-2, the first ever reused Super Heavy, returns to the pad for Flight 9. While competitors discard billion-dollar rockets, SpaceX is proving flight-proven hardware works. This 230-foot metal giant survived atmospheric forces that would tear normal rockets apart. The May 21st launch isn't just another test. It's the moment reusability changes spaceflight economics forever. Will this revolutionary approach silence the critics? Or will the 1,000-ton beast falter under pressure? Let's dive right in. Right now at Starbase, SpaceX is making history, not just building rockets, but revolutionizing the entire economics of space. Ship 35 just completed its crucial 60-second static fire. All 6 Raptor engines, perfect performance. No anomalies, no shutdowns, just raw, controlled power. Meanwhile, that massive orbital launch mount, weighing nearly 1,000 tons, now stands tall at Pad B. Think about that weight for a moment. 10 blue whales, 33 semi-trucks, and SpaceX just lifted it into place. The space industry has never seen anything like this. What makes Flight 9 truly revolutionary isn't just new hardware. It's Booster 14-2, returning to the launch table for a second flight. This changes everything. While competitors like ULA and Arianespace continue dumping billion-dollar hardware into the ocean after a single use, SpaceX is proving the largest rocket ever built can be reflown. Think about the economics. Traditional launch providers spend hundreds of millions building each disposable rocket. Their business model? Build it, fly it, lose it, forever. SpaceX ? Build it once, fly it repeatedly. The math is brutal for competitors. If Starship achieves even a fraction of Falcon 9's reusability, where boosters have flown over 15 times, the cost differential becomes insurmountable. We're not talking about being 10% cheaper. We're talking about being 90% cheaper. How can anyone compete with that? But questions remain. How many times can a super heavy booster fly? 5 times? 10? 50? The answer will determine just how thoroughly SpaceX dominates space for the next decade. May 21st. The launch window opens at 6:30 p.m. local time. Imagine the scene as twilight settles over the Texas coast. 33 Raptor engines igniting simultaneously, turning night into day. But beyond the spectacle, this timing represents something much more significant: growing confidence. The countdown sequence is already underway. Ship 35 will roll to the pad. The massive crane will lift it into position. And unlike previous flights, SpaceX may only perform a partial propellant fill during testing. Why? Because they're no longer treating every step as experimental. They're beginning to operationalize, to standardize, to turn the extraordinary into routine. And here's where it gets fascinating. SpaceX has 2 paths forward. Either leave the ship stacked after testing, showing unprecedented confidence in their systems, or perform one final destack before launch. Which would you choose? The bolder path with higher risk, or the cautious approach that's proven safer? Even as Flight 9 preparations accelerate, SpaceX is already racing toward the future. 3 Block 2 ships sit in Mega Bay 2, but they might never fly, because something better's coming. The first confirmed Block 3 hardware has appeared with revolutionary features that leave competitors' technology looking like ancient history. Metal heat shields instead of ceramic tiles, active cooling systems instead of passive protection, completely redesigned engine mounts. While Blue Origin struggles to complete a single New Glenn rocket, while NASA continues paying billions for SLS,